Alright guys, so this is probably my third recording third straight recording in the past 40 minutes. I've been recording for a while, maybe longer than that. What I want to talk about is the DC cinematic universe versus the DC animated universe versus the comic books. So the DC cinematic universe, DCEU, or whatever you want to call it, extended universe. So here's the thing about DCEU. They completely and utterly lack direction and don't care about their characters. And they've tried things and flopped things and tried things and flopped things. Now, I do feel like Justice League was a huge improvement, and I don't care what anyone's got to say. I really don't. I feel like if it would have came out without all those disappointments prior to it, it would have been fine. But we have to recognize that there's a lot of issues. Why are we, as fans, seeing a Justice League movie where Superman has to come back from the dead? Why was Superman dead? He's been in 2 movies. You're killing him in the second movie that he's been in. What is that? That's so stupid. The death of Superman, if you were ever going to do it, and an animated universe is about to do it, but if you were ever going to do it in movie form, in live action movie form, should have been after the first Justice League film. Maybe after the second. When you've established him. Because now you've wasted Doomsday. Doomsday's gone, so you can't use him again. Unless you create another Doomsday. You've wasted Doomsday. You've killed Superman. He's come back to life. For what? In this space of time. And I understand when people say they should reboot the DCEU. I understand what they're saying, and it's kind of true, you know, to an extent. But I don't think they should. Because they've gone so far, and the premise and just a lot of stuff stylistically, the way it looks, it's really, really good looking. You know, stylistically, the way the characters move and stuff, it's really cool. It's just the actual characters and the tone and the storylines they're getting wrong. You know, a lot of the aesthetic stuff they're getting right, which is kind of sad. But, you know, so Superman died, right? Why? That's number one. Number two, the Justice League. Why are we watching a movie about the Justice League in this bleak universe where all these superhuman people are just hidden? Why couldn't we have a year between these events and these people have started to surface into the world, and then they started to work together slowly? You know, whereas versus the animated universe where they introduced the Justice League in a storyline which was basically taken from the comics, but still, why did we have to get the Justice League introduced to us in a weird way where they didn't want to work together, or where, you know, the Flash is a weirdo, or where Aquaman's like, I'm not doing it. Meh. You know, it was so strange. Why is Batman forming the Justice League? They're supposed to kind of come together on a naturalistic tip. That's what's supposed to happen. Didn't happen. But let's not get into that. Let's not get into semantics or specifics. Let's talk about the comparisons between the DCEU and the DC animated universe. So the DC animated universe takes from the comics the best bits and makes these really, really good films. Why does the DCEU have to try and create complete new concepts or take from the worst possible comics? Because essentially what you've done with Man of Steel is you've used Superman Earth 1 and you've made it a worse story than it was, and you've put it on screen, and you've made a sad Superman who is older than he was in Earth 1. So a lot of people are upset about that, about Superman's mentality and about his demeanor, which I didn't mind because he was quite old in the film. You know, he was, I mean, not old, he was quite young. He was 33 when he became Superman, so he was quite old when he became Superman. But he was quite young as Superman. He just became Superman, he just started flying and stuff. Another thing, I can't remember Superman Earth 1, but why could he only just fly? Now he's grown, he's 33, he just learned how to fly. You know, so it's really strange how they kind of do that. They take a version of the character that is essentially from only one book, a very specific version of the character, whereas Superman is a character that has had canon. He's had, you know, periods of time when he's been a certain way, where he's been a different way, but he's always had a consistency that he is this character. He is kind of hopeful. He's happy. A lot of people might say, no, he's not in the New 52, but he still is if you've really read him in the New 52. If you're not just going off what people say, like internet trolls, then, you know what he's like. He was always quite hopeful. He was always quite a happy character. He was just in the New 52. He was just a bit younger, and he was a little bit more battle ready, which I quite enjoyed because I like action and I'm a big fan of anime and shonen. So I didn't mind that personally. Back to my point. But in the DCEU, you've taken characters like Batman. So you took Superman, you've made him quite strange, and he's young and he's new and he feels insecure all the time. You've got this very emotional character, and then you've taken Batman, you've made Batman, instead of being logical and sound and analytical, he's emotional and he wants to kill Superman and he wants vengeance and all this bullshit that's not Batman. That's the problem. In the original comics, when Batman and Superman meet, Batman says to him, "If you touch me, an innocent person will die." This is post 1986. This is post Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is the first post Crisis universe. Before Infinite Crisis, before the New 52. He says to Superman, "If you touch me, an innocent person will die." And he has an aura around his body, and Superman scans him. In this universe, he meets Superman, he's angry, he's enraged. The first time they meet, Superman could have just put him in jail. And Superman knows his identity before anything. Superman sees him at a party and he's like, yeah, he's Batman. And he can hear everything that's going on. It's crazy. You know, yeah, it's cool that, you know, Superman would probably be able to deduct who Batman is using his sensors. That's fine. But just the way they do it in the movie, it's so ridiculous, you know. And then also, let's, you know, another thing, let's compare the comics and stuff. In these films, Lex Luthor knows everyone's identity. Everyone's. He just knows. He knows Superman's Clark Kent. If Lex Luthor knew Superman was Clark Kent, it would have been a wrap a long time ago. You can't have that. He knows Bruce Wayne's Batman. What? He knows everyone. He knows everyone. He knows Barry Allen's The Flash. He's got files. He's got files. So mad. You can't just... This film just loves to just drop the mic, but it's not a good mic drop. It's like when you tell a bad joke and you drop the mic and no one cares and there's just dead silence. You can't just do that. You can't just like make these things happen that haven't happened in the comics. DCEU, Jimmy Olsen gets introduced in Batman v Superman. Shot in the head. Jimmy Olsen. Why is he a government agent? Why is he not Superman's friend? Emil Hamilton, a scientist that's been known in Superman series. He's been in Justice League Unlimited. He's a bar. He's active. Why is Emil Hamilton just dying in Man of Steel? It's crazy. People just be dying in these films. Like, you just lose characters. Just like that. Just gone. Lose characters. That's how it works. And that's the problem. They don't care about their universe enough. How is Jimmy Olsen getting head-topped? Just like that. Jimmy Olsen. But in the Supergirl series, he's a main character and he's also a superhero. So what? You're just wasting potential now because you can. And then Marvel is out here got characters on fleek. Hella characters everywhere. Got people that didn't know who Winter Soldier is talking about. Winter Soldier's the best. Winter Soldier can beat Nightwing. And this is where we are. We're in a place where our characters in the DC universe are just being misrepresented. And we just feel bad. So what are they going to do then? They're going to make Darkseid just some angry, illogical guy that comes down and gets swamped. What are we going to do? Because I really enjoyed Steppenwolf. That's what I'm saying. I feel like Justice League was a huge step up. Even the way they changed up the colour palette, even the way Superman looked happy, all of that was good. Batman was still weak in the movie. It's cool to see him and stuff, but it's weak. They started doing all this cool shit, talking about, oh, they can smell fear. Then he can't beat one parademon. But in Avengers 1 in 2012, Captain America runs through a gang of Chitauri that are basically just parademons. Because they're just evil goons. It's evil monster goons that come out of space that fly. Same thing. Cap's mashing them up on his one-tod on top of a taxi. Bang! With the shield. What are you talking about? But Batman's getting kicked around by one parademon. Trash. It's emotional. So you're misrepresenting our characters because in the Justice League War comic books and in the Justice League War animation, Batman's taking parademons out like he's an ultra shinobi. So you're misrepresenting our characters. Yeah, you got Batman doing cool shit like in Batman v Superman when he's just in the corner like that. And the guy sees him, he just rips across the ceiling. Yeah, that was cold. But then you're talking about He gets beat by one parademon. This is Batman. He would have put a plastic bomb on its belly and just kicked it. What are you on? Where are we? What? Where are we? Yeah, I can't really complain about any more stuff that was in Justice League because I enjoyed it. I just don't like how Flash only seems to have that speed power, because the Flash can phase through walls and all that shit. Where's all that? Where's all that? I don't even like how his lightning's blue. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool how it looks. It's very realistic. But the only justification I can see for blue lightning is that you're going to make Shazam's lightning yellow. And I hope it is yellow, because that's how it used to be. But then they changed it to blue in the comics, which is stupid. But it used to be yellow. But I guess that was clashing with the Flash, so they changed it. You know, sometimes you got to make executive decisions. But in my opinion, Shazam's magic, his shit should be yellow. You know what I mean? To be fair. Anyway, I'm not bothered. But why can't Flash phase through walls? You know, Flash should have hella powers. Flash should be... There should have been scenes in the movie where Flash, like, looked like he was going through portals. And I liked how they made Superman very similar speed to Flash. I really enjoyed that. You know, honestly, I really enjoyed that. But, you know, in the DC animated universe, in Justice League War, and I'm sorry to keep comparing these two films, the Flash phases through some parademons to avoid the Omega Beams. He can't phase in Justice League. So it's like you're showing this guy who clearly has a good handle on his powers and he's been using them on the side, but he can't phase yet and stuff like that. And obviously it might be an oversight, and you know, a lot of movies, when they make movie versions of characters, they kind of like die down the character's powers, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe does it a lot. But I'm just, as a DC fan, that's a big difference to me. You know, that's a big difference to me. But yeah, so that's where we are. You know, the Suicide Squad in the DC EU is trash. Trash. They should not have made that film at all. If you compare that to Assault on Arkham, it's trash. Because you took the Suicide Squad, which is basically a street level group of characters. And I'm not going to talk about this for long because I'm just disgusted by it. I just think it's absolute drivel and it's ridiculous. I can't believe they made that film. I can't believe films like that get justified, but then you're giving us Dragon Ball Evolution, which is trash. Like, but we could have had a Dragon Ball Z movie that was good because we've got the special effects. You're just mocking us. It's all a joke. It's all a joke. It's all ridiculous. Oh, well, that film could have been something else. That film legit could have been a different film. But you made Suicide Squad because you're crazy. You're crazy people. Sad. But you've got Assault on Arkham, which is a legit good story, which you could have... Why can't they, in Hollywood, just rip from these animations? Why not? Because it's all DC. Because the animations are leagues ahead. Just do that. If you give us that Batman from those animations, no one will complain. Ever. Ever. People are like, all these people that went out and got Dark Knight tattoos. I got friends who have got Dark Knight tattoos and stuff because of the Dark Knight. Imagine if you had a Batman from the comics. Dark Knight would just get forgotten about. Because the Batman from the comics is deeper. He's deeper. He's stronger. He's bigger. He does dirt. He's got more gadgets. He's fearless. He fights superhumans. And he's not bothered. He's got better gadgets. He's more active. There's more history to him. He trained in more places. He's got more depth. He can hide from the Martian Manhunter. There's so much to Batman in the comics. You know, in my opinion, the biggest thing that the DC EU did wrong was try to copy the Dark Knight's tone and try and make superhero movies. Because you got to understand, yeah, the key to making superhero movies is making superhero movies. The Dark Knight is a thriller. It's an action thriller. It's not a superhero movie per se. Because Batman's not really, in that world, he's not really a superhero. You know, whereas in a lot of his stories in the comics and a lot of his stories in the animations are very superhero centric stories where he is basically a character with powers. Yeah, he doesn't directly have powers, but if you can palm strike someone through a brick wall with relative ease, you have superhuman strength to some degree. In the Arkham games, he rips off metal grates with big bolts. He doesn't unbolt them, he rips them off the wall because Batman's that strong. Yeah, he's a human, but he's reached the peak of human strength like a character like Captain America. And how are we supposed to know that if he can't beat one parademon? For all the real Batman fans in the crowd, you know what I'm saying? Will the real Batman fans please stand up? You know what I'm saying? For all the real Batman fans in the crowd, you're gonna know that this Batman's getting toyed with by a parademon. How are we supposed to have faith in this guy? The real Batman would have just whipped out some gadget and just punched it up. The Batman from Batman Brave and the Bold would have slapped it across the screen, pulled out his electric fists and just went to town. He's a martial arts master. Where's the martial arts mastery? He's got all this cool in the film. In Justice League, Bruce Wayne's so cool, you know. He's got samurai armor and stuff in his chambers. He's got all these warehouses. He's cool, but he's not Batman because he doesn't have the skill set. And he's old Batman. Why have you taken Batman? Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. They've taken DC Animated Universe has also done the Dark Knight films, the Dark Knight Returns, not the Dark Knight, not the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight, but Dark Knight Returns films. They've done them. That's the Batman we've got in the DCEU. Why have you got that version of Batman in our films? That older version of Batman. You could have easily made the Batman film and just said Ben Affleck's 40. But Ben Affleck's all stating he's older than his dad was when his dad died and all that. His dad was probably about 45, 50. So you're trying to say Batman's 50. That's dead. And I know Ben Affleck probably is 50, but he could have passed for 40. We could have had a 40-year-old Batman. That would have been fine. 40 with Batman's nutrition plan and everything, still relatively healthy and young to me. You know, with how Batman acts, that would have been fine. Still would have been a bit old, still would have been pushing it, but, you know, that would have been fine. Batman actively in this universe has grey hair. Why have we got a grey-haired Batman? Why? For what? You know, it seemed cool before I watched the movie, but then, you know, when you start really thinking about it as a fan on a fan level, it's like, why? Why do that? What was that decision about? Who knows? But that's where we are, you know. And Wonder Woman. Now, I've got no qualms with Wonder Woman's film at all. I really enjoyed it. It really made me happy on a level. I didn't really like Ares, the way he looked with his mustache and all that. But other than that, the film was wicked. You know, I think the animation was better. Yeah, I do. Even though the Wonder Woman film was cold. The Wonder Woman film was cold. But was the animation better? Yeah, man. The animation was way better. But flip side, the animation was set in the modern era. The animation wasn't set back in the day. This film was set back in the day. This film was set like in the 1920s or something, you know, 100 years ago, 1918, mad early times, like, so it's not the same really, but yes, it was very similar films, you know what I'm saying, like in the animation, it got deeper though, like it got deeper into Ares, and it got deeper into how he escaped from Mascara, and it got deeper into Ares' son being in hell, and it was all deep. That would have been way deeper if they put that in the film, but they didn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not nothing against Patty Jenkins. She did a really good job. Pretty much the only DCEU film that no one can say anything negative about. That's not, you know what I'm saying? That's not an idiot. Well, that's kind of a disrespect to people that don't like the film. But no one can say nothing negative about it on a objective basis, because, you know, objectively it's pretty good. To be fair, it's pretty fun. It makes the character, you know, it really adds to the character. It makes the character more whole. So, you know, but yeah, so far the DCEU has been quite sad really, and that's what's upsetting about it. You know, Man of Steel 2 didn't have to be Batman vs Superman, and I know it wasn't, it's not officially Man of Steel 2, but that's what it is. Man of Steel comes out, and then a few years later that comes out. You know, whereas it could have just been a chill thing. They could have just made Batman, you know, and then they could have hinted Superman at the end. Batman could have been doing his own self-contained stuff in Gotham, really cool stuff as well. You know, with Superman being in the news or in like the rear, in your peripherals, and you don't really see too much of him, and then at the end you kind of hear about him. That would have been cool, but instead you've made Batman v Superman who jump straight into the deep end, and that's what DC's been doing. He's been just jumping straight into the deep end. Yeah, I was very excited when I seen the Justice League trailer. I was, honestly, and I was very happy when I watched the film. And me and all my boys, and I've said this on various videos, we came out of the film happy, very, very happy, very like, yo, that was a very exciting film. Steppenwolf for me was very cool. You know what I'm saying? He did a lot of cool stuff. It was very much like Dragon Ball Z. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of people that hated the film, I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z. When Nappa destroyed those aeroplanes in the Saiyan Saga, I was very happy. Nappa doesn't have that much depth, quite honestly, but that was cool. Steppenwolf did a lot of cool stuff, and then he says, "You will love me," to the Amazon Queen, and he teleports away, and he goes to Atlantis, and he beats up Aquaman. He does so much dirt in that film that I had to be like, yeah, I give him ratings. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, guys, look. Whew. I've ranted for so long. I've run out of things to say. My camera only records for 20-minute segments. I am not editing these videos anymore because my computer is quite frankly not powerful enough. And it takes too long to render, and then I have to upload it. So what I'm going to do is just upload raw files now. But anyway guys, I've been Fiji. This is where I think and I feel. Please like and subscribe. Share if you want to. It helps me get off the ground. So does liking and subscribing. And I'll see you guys in the next one, where I don't know, I'll be talking about something. Hopefully not the DCEU again, but it might be. Anyway guys, peace.